Hey guys, Lazy Sloth Animation here. Today I will be doing a short tutorial on rigging a bipedal character in 3ds Max using the CATrig. This is mostly for people who are brand new to animation and would like to learn brand new skills, or for people that maybe have done animation in the past but haven't actually rigged up their own characters just yet. So let's get started, shall we? As you can see, I have my character here, and it's Black Wargreymon. Obviously, I do not own a model or claim to have any rights to it. Obviously, that goes to the people that actually made the Digimon anime and all of the Digimon games and stuff like that. So please, copyright stuff, do not come after me. So what we want to do first is actually come over to the helpers option, just here. Click the drop down and you'll see cat objects. Once that, click on that and you can go on cat parent. So once you've clicked on cat parent, just simply drag out so that it actually encapsulates the whole character, because this will basically be very vital for when it actually comes to creating the CATrig in the first place. So just from this, what you want to go do is go over to the modifier tab, and you'll see that it's got a few names and stuff. So what we just want to do now is come over to here where it says CATrig and just change that to BW Greymon. Now what that means is that everything that you create when using this, so all of the bones, will have BW Greymon in front of them instead of having CATrig 001 arm or something stupid like that. Now the great thing with CATrig, especially in 3ds Max, is you have all of these things down here that beginners can basically have a look at and practice their animations on before creating their own custom rigs, which is, it's very useful on Max's part. So what we want to do first, well, what I like to do is I like to click on the character with Control and X just to turn him invisible. That way I can just make sure that all of the bones are fitting nicely inside of the character. Once I've done that, I just want to hit create pelvis, and I mean it always seems to do that, but I don't know whether it's because my character's a bit too small. What you can do is just drag that down so it's in line with basically where the pelvis would be in this character. So for now I just want to shorten that down so it's as realistic as possible, because that will certainly help when it comes to skinning later on down the line. Now as you saw just there, I actually went on here and it had pelvis 001. I've just gotten rid of the 001 so that you don't have all of that, and then that will change it up here as well. It says BW Greymon pelvis and there's no numbers. That just makes it look a whole lot neater. I mean, you can keep the 001 if you really want to, but personally I don't want to. So next, after we've created the pelvis, just want to click on that and add spine, and that will create obviously the spine and what will be the torso. So you just drag that down so again it matches basically torso would be in real life. So I'm just going to say about there. What I do want to say is once I've done this, I will go back and basically change how the CATrig looks, just so it does match the character as close as possible. I will show that in the tutorial later on, but for now I just want to get the basics down. Now for now this is called pelvis 001 because that's just how it works in 3ds Max. So I just want to come down here and change that to torso. So once you do that, it hasn't changed it up here yet, but it will do soon enough. After that, obviously you're going to want to create the neck. So again, just simply hit spine. I mean, it makes it a bit too long. So for that, what you can do is click on one of the spine bones, just here. And see how it says bones 5. I just like to put that down to 3. Again, it's still pretty long. So we just click on this, which will be the head. Drag that down nicely just there. And normally with a bipedal character, the head will be straight up. But obviously with Wargreymon, he's got a head that faces basically at a 90-degree angle. So for that, I just want to rotate the head round like so, and then match it back up. I mean, some people might not like that method, but that's pretty much just how I've learned to do it in math. And again, like I said, I will come in later on and change up how all of this looks. So there's just the start of the head, and what we'll do is we'll change the name here to head. And if I to show you what I mean, that says torso now, and this should say head. It just makes it a lot easier if you stick to nice simple naming conventions. And believe me, when it comes to importing stuff to Unreal, that really helps. So what I'm going to do next is create the leg. And for that, you just click on the pelvis bone and click add leg. And that'll just create this basic standard leg. Now, what you want to do is move the leg platform first, so you can get it to match up with the foot. Don't go messing around with the actual foot itself, because if you try and do that, it's just not going to work properly. And you always want the foot to match up with the controller here, because that's how you'll move the leg when it comes to animating. So what I'm going to do is rotate the foot round, bring it back up, and match it back into the controller, like so. Now with this, we just want to bring it out so that there's a bit of a knee, like that, and just bring it out. Again, I'm going to go in later on and change that. Let's face it, that looks horrible. But for now, that's not too bad. This character has a slight weird gait in the fact that his feet are angled quite far out. So for that, you just want to simply rotate that round and bring it out, like so. Now, Max is very nice in the fact that I can just click here and click on add leg, and it will create another leg just there, which is really nice. It means that you don't have to faff about with it again later on. So next, obviously, we want to create the arms. And if we just make it not invisible anymore, you just press Alt and X again. Now, when you create arms, usually they've got 3 bones. If you look at your arm, you've got the top bone, then the lower arm, and then obviously your palm. But this character's a bit weird in the fact that, you know, it's pretty much just, I'm just going to create it using 2 bones, because he doesn't really move the bottom half of his palm. If you watch the anime, his hand and the bottom half of his arm move pretty much together. So that's what I'll just do now. So for that, you just want to click on the torso bone and click add arm, and that will just create this nice simple arm. Then what you want to do is click on this little bone here, which is the collarbone, also known as the clavicle, for you sciencey smart boys out there. And I'd just like to make sure that that's basically in the middle of the bone there, sticking out slightly. Now once you've done that with the clavicle, what you want to do is, well, for me, as I said, I just wanted it to have 2 bones. I'm going to come down here and change the arm bone from 2 to 1. That'll basically just give you the top half of the arm and the palm, which I'm just going to use as the bottom half of the arm for now. Now, as I've previously stated, you want to match up the character as close as possible. So for that, you're just going to move it so that the top of the arm is just there, quite nicely. And then, as I said before, using the palm as the lower half of the arm, just going to come in, rotate that round so it better matches that really. And then we're going to increase the width, the length, just so that it goes all the way down to the bottom of that. Now you don't actually have to do that, but for my sanity's sake, I'm just gonna. And again, just like with the legs, once you've done one arm, you can come and click add arm. There you go, that's how you create the base of the rig. And now if you really want to change it up and get it to better look like the character, I'll show that now. Now when it comes to CATrig, what you do not want to do is scale them like so. Because when you come to import them into Unreal, that will actually break the skeleton but not actually tell you. So the way around that is the way I've learned. Obviously again, people obviously have their own processes and ways that they do things. But for me, I just like to go on whatever it is I want to change, come to the modifier list down below, and change that into an edit poly. Now, again, I'm not going to change the sizes of them or anything, but I am going to basically come in and just tweak it so that it better matches the model really, and so that we don't have that weird janky knee down at the bottom, because that will more than likely create some issues down the line. Now when it comes to stuff like the foot, obviously that isn't very big at all and probably wouldn't match the foot very well when it comes to skinning. So again, just change that to an edit poly, and then you can come out and tweak that however you like. Now with that being done, obviously what you'd like to do, well, what I like to do, just right click on the object, collapse all, hit yes, and then that will return it to an object. That's just so that you don't have edit polys in your model. Now what you'd like to do is, instead of having to change this leg up again, I'd just like to delete that, click that, just like to click add leg, and that will add another leg in with all of the changes you've just made. Like so. Now the torso and the pelvis, I'm not really going to change much. You can if you'd like to, but just for this, I'm not going to. But I will for the head, because I don't like this little blocky head, and I'd like it to better match the actual character's head if I can. So again, just click on what body part you'd like to modify, come down and just change it to an editable poly. As I should have really explained earlier on, an edit poly just allows you to basically change the model, the CATrig up, without running the risk of damaging it and having Unreal break on you. So having Unreal break on you is possibly the worst thing in the world, especially when it doesn't tell you that there's an issue, and then you're like, why is nothing working for me? And then you find out later on it's just because you've done that. Now with this, what I'd like to do is come to the edge selection, come down swiftly and just bang that in there. That way what I can do is just raise it so that the head is nicely like that. So now that the model and the rig are basically done, what I just want to try is come down to the leg platform controller and just move that in. And as you can see, with the controller you can move the leg about like so. Whereas if you try and move the foot on its own, it's just going to go all weirdly. And that's just because the platform encapsulates the foot and the leg as well. So there you have it. That is just a quick tutorial on setting up a CATrig really quickly in 3ds Max. Obviously the CATrig looks stupid when it's on its own, but once you've added it to the character it doesn't look so bad. Now when you transfer this over to Unreal or Maya or anything like that, you won't see the CATrig anymore, and it will just change it to bones, because every other software just works with simple bones. Whereas in Max you can either create a rig with bone, the skeletal bones, or a CATrig. I just find it easier to use CATrig. Now what I do actually want to show you, just real quickly, is if we put the model back onto the character, you go onto the character itself, come down to the modifier tab, hit skin. Now this will basically just allow you to add in all of the bones that you've just made. So you just come to bone, click add, click the pelvis, select, and then that will add in all the bones down here. Obviously if you've done the naming convention, it'll look a lot nicer. Otherwise you'll just have a bunch of zeros and ones and twos. Once you've done that, what I like to do personally is use a voxel skin. And to do that, you just come down to weight solver, click the little dots next to voxel, and it will come up with this little tab. Now, some people might have actual values that they like to type in, but I like to just start off with a fall off of 0.2, a max influence of say 2, and a max resolution of 1024. You want the best resolution you can get, obviously, because let's face it, better resolution, just better things in general. And basically for this, what I like to do is just start off with pretty much the base values that you get with the voxel solver, and then you can go in and tweak it however you like to later on. Tick winding numbers, because you know, adds to the accuracy but slows down the solve, as it just says there, and hit apply. Now what that'll do is now Max is skinning the bone to the character. As you can see, it does come up that it's not responding, but that's just the way Max does things, and it is actually still doing it, but it'll look like it's crashed. It hasn't, so don't worry about that. Now that that's skinned, we're just going to click the X here, come to the pelvis bone, which we set up at the beginning, come to the layers option, and basically when you animate, everything works on a layer. So for now I just want to create an absolute layer, so just hold that with the left mouse button, so it comes down with this drop down and you can just hit absolute. Come here and just press that to toggle it on. That way, you know, it'll move the character with the rig, and the rig won't move weirdly at all. So if you guys did enjoy this, please do comment down below with things that you'd like to see next. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this, and I'll see you all in the next video.